name is Elmira Strange and I'm a therapist, coach and a founder of Therapeutic Coaching Academy, where you can learn how to establish your successful online business as an online coach or a therapist, where you can learn how to help and support others whilst making yourself more confident and happier in the process of it. So it's not only about your clients, it's also about you. In today's video, I would like to talk to you about yet another important topic on how to make decisions. It's all related to procrastination and indecisiveness, which we were addressing in our other previous videos. So please don't forget to check them out too. So we have to make decisions on daily basis. Some of them are big. For example, if it comes to changing your career, your work, or your relationships, they can occupy all your mind and all your time. You can become more obsessive thinking about it because you need to make a decision and it takes a lot of your resources. There's too many variables that you need to think about before you make that decision. There are other decisions which are more like a middle range decisions. For example, what you're gonna have for breakfast or lunch, or what should you wear today because you're going to some kind of meeting, it's your work or it's your day off. What should you respond to a certain email that came from your client, for example? Whether you should start working on your new project today, or whether you should start working on it from Monday. Whether you should take your car or a bike if you have a bike for a ride. And we have many small decisions that we also make, but quite often we are not even aware of them. For example, you have a lot of notifications coming from your phone. Every time you make a decision in your mind whether you want to check your phone now or later, and whether you should check your post or if somebody commented on your post, or whether you should post a new picture on your Instagram now or later, whether you should turn your TV on when you're having your dinner, whether you should relax now or get on with some household task that is waiting for you. So there are many decisions that we have to do during the day. And what you need to know is that every decision will draw your energy. And energy is a very precious substance that we all are trying to preserve as much as possible. This is actually why we becoming lazy in our thinking, in our behavior, and about what we do, because subconsciously we are trying to preserve that energy that we have. So it is in your interest to find ways of preserving your energy and not to expel it so much, especially on the smaller decisions. So when it comes to decisions that we make during the day, is related to planning the day. If you plan the day in advance, for example, about what you're going to wear for the day, what you're going to eat for breakfast and lunch, whether you will put your phone on silent for periods of time so it didn't disturb you. The more you plan in advance, the easier your day will unfold for you, and the less decisions you will have to make in the process of it as it's unfolding. Hence, you spend less energy during the day, which is great. The more energy you still have, the more you can use it for something that is productive, that makes you happy and more positive. How do we make decisions when it comes to decisions that we need to think about? Here, what you need to know is that if the decision is concerning our personal life, it's about your job, for example, your career choice, about what you study, what you are going to do today on your business, or if it comes to your relationships with other people, your personal relationships, your family members, your friends. This is where your emotional side will play up to a much greater degree than if you had to make a decision for somebody else. This is one of the reasons why we go to our friends and family to ask for their opinion, so it was much easier for us to make a decision. Or why we sign up for counseling or coaching. They are not emotionally invested. Hence, they can help us to make a better decision that is based on more objective perception of the situation. And this is what you can do. When it comes to the decisions that trigger in you certain emotions, what you can do is to try to put yourself in the shoes of another person who will look at this situation more objectively or logically. Imagine if your friend or somebody else or your client ask you to help them to reach that decision. They lay down the situation in front of you. You can write it down if you like. Write it down as if somebody else is writing to you. Write the pros and cons of the decision. Write potential decisions, potential outcomes, and how they will benefit you. Quite often, when we cannot decide something for a long time, that means we're afraid of outcome of that decision. So here you need to ask yourself what it is you're afraid of. What would be the consequence of your decision? How it can benefit you now or in the future? Sometimes certain decisions will make us suffer, mentally suffer, but perhaps for a short period of time. For example, you decided to quit your job and start your new business. The fear and panic of going from something that you got used to for perhaps for many years, something where you found yourself pretty comfortable. You know your work, you know how to do it, and to walk away, it's a scary thing. But you also know that this needs to be done if you want to work on something else, either for another company or whether you want to establish yourself as a self-employed. So here you can write down all the pros and cons of your decision. You can ask other people who are not so invested emotionally in this decision and see what opinions they come up with, because sometimes they see those sides of the story that we cannot see. And the more information, the bigger picture you have, can help you to reach that decision. But sometimes it can also make you more confused, because your mind will be overloaded with information and various pros and cons. This is where you want to write down all the pros and cons of your decision and look at the list in front of you, because sometimes just writing it down makes it so much clearer for us, where we can see what something will work or it won't. Almost every decision has its own risk of something might go wrong, but there is also a big chance of something might go right. And this is why quite often it's difficult for us to make those decisions. So one of the options you have is to consolidate with people who are not emotionally invested in your decision and seek their opinion. Another one is to write a list of upsides and downsides of that decision, of that outcome. The next one is to write down the pros and cons of that decision now and in the future. And another technique is to imagine yourself a year from now on with the best life that you can imagine, look back and advise yourself what to do in this situation. And of course, don't forget about your own internal emotions. What does your heart is telling you? What's best to do for you? Because sometimes that inner guidance is actually also really important. We can feel if something might not go right for us. We can feel if we're something passionate about and something that we are drawn to. But of course, we need to take into account all the logical variables too, whether it will work or it won't. And finally, if you are really struggling to make a decision, I urge you to sign up for some counseling or coaching, because that person is actually working in that area of helping people to come to the right decisions and to change their life for the better. And they are not emotionally invested in you. Well, I hope you found this video useful and interesting. If you did, then please like it and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done it yet. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video.